Capricorn, listen to me very carefully, because what I'm about to say will hit a place inside you that no one else has dared to reach. You've been feeling it. You've been sensing it. But you didn't know how to name it. There's a disturbance in your space. An uneasiness in your spirit. And every time you tried to shake it off, it came right back, didn't it? You told yourself, I'm just tired. You told yourself, it's probably nothing. But now Spirit says it was something. It's always been something. Because someone around you has been hiding a truth so dangerous, so spiritually poisonous, that if it had remained in the shadows, it could have destroyed you. But not anymore. Because today, right now, Spirit is tearing the veil. What was whispered in darkness is being revealed in light. And the names that flicker in your chest as I speak? That's not coincidence. That's confirmation. This is not just a message. This is spiritual protection showing up on time. And if your soul is leaning in, it's because it already knows. You were never paranoid. You were being warned. And now, it's time to see exactly who's been moving in silence against you. And how Spirit is already dismantling their trap before your very eyes. So, Capricorn, take a breath. Center yourself. Because what's coming next may shake you, but it will also free you. Let's begin. Part 1. The energy you felt but couldn't name. Capricorn, have you noticed how lately, even the most ordinary days feel heavier? How conversations with certain people leave you unsettled? How the room sometimes shifts when you walk in, not because you've changed, but because they have? You've been feeling watched. Not in the literal sense, but in that spiritual, skin-prickling, heart-sinking kind of way. Like someone is observing your every move, not out of love, but out of calculation. And let's be honest. You've tried to explain it away, haven't you? You told yourself you're imagining it. You buried the discomfort beneath your logic. Because that's what you do. You keep moving. You keep building. You don't like to accuse without proof. So you silence the whisper, even when it gets louder. But Spirit doesn't whisper for no reason. Those restless nights. That tightness in your chest when a certain name pops up on your phone. The way your energy dips, not because you're exhausted, but because something around you is draining your light. That was never random. That was recognition. Your soul has been trying to alert you to a truth your mind hasn't wanted to face. Someone, maybe even two people, have been moving against you in silence. Smiling at your face, but holding something darker in their spirit. And the reason it's been hard to see clearly is because you never expected it to be them. Not the ones you've confided in. Not the ones you've helped. Not the ones who told you they had your back. But betrayal never comes from strangers. It comes from those close enough to hurt you. Capricorn, you're known for your endurance. You carry mountains on your back while others complain about pebbles in their shoes. But even the strongest feel it, that shift in energy when someone's intentions go sour. And right now, what you've been picking up isn't a fluke. It's the beginning of spiritual exposure. You've been picking up on a betrayal still in the making. Not loud. Not obvious. But precise. Quiet. Dangerous. This is why your body has been restless. Why your dreams have felt more vivid. Why you've been second-guessing your own thoughts. Because your soul knows. Something is moving in the dark. And Spirit is preparing you to see it before it strikes. Life lesson. Capricorn, your intuition isn't an interruption. It's a protection. The more you honor that inner warning, the fewer traps you'll step into. Don't wait for evidence when your spirit already knows the truth. You weren't given discernment to ignore it. You were given discernment to survive. Part 2. The one who smiles but holds a knife. Capricorn, the most dangerous kind of enemy is the one who knows how to smile. The one who claps for you louder than anyone else, but only when others are watching. The one who praises your growth not because they admire it, but because they're trying to stay close enough to control it. You know who I'm talking about. That person in your life who always has the right words. The one who says, I'm so proud of you, but somehow, every time you leave the room, your spirit feels heavier. Their energy doesn't match their words. Their smile feels practiced. Their eyes say less than their mouth does. And when you succeed, they get quieter, more intense, less available. This person plays a role in your life. Friend, family, co-worker, partner, someone with access to your plans, your thoughts, your heart. But what they really want is access to your vulnerability. Because if they can stay close enough to learn how you work, they think they'll know exactly where to strike when the time is right. Capricorn, this is not just about envy. This is about spiritual sabotage masked as loyalty. This person has spent time studying you. They know how to mirror your language, your emotions. They know when you're stressed, when you're doubting yourself, when your walls are just a little lower. And that's when they slip in. Not with insults. Not with attacks. But with suggestions, subtle ones. Maybe you're overthinking that. You sure you want to do that now? I mean, I would do it differently, but that's just me. See, they don't need to stop you directly. They just need to insert doubt. They just need to cloud your confidence. Because they know, if they can get inside your mind, they don't need to trap your body. And here's the cruelest part. You've defended this person before. You've told others, no, they're just direct or they mean well. You've excused their behavior because you thought they were being honest. But in truth, they've just been strategic. Capricorn, you are loyal to a fault. And that's what they've been counting on. But spirit is done letting you be played. You may not have seen their knife. But your body has felt it. The fatigue. The confusion. The guilt that wasn't even yours to carry. And now that spirit is lifting the veil, you'll start to notice the cracks in their disguise. The way their smile tightens when good things happen to you. The way they go silent when your name is praised. The way they disappear when you're finally winning. Pay attention. This person has been smiling with a blade behind their back. Not because you wronged them, but because your growth makes them feel small. And in their mind, if they can't rise with you, they'll find a way to keep you from rising at all. Life lesson. Capricorn, not everyone who claps for you is on your side. Some people show love only to stay close enough to sabotage it. This season, your spirit isn't asking you to hate them. It's asking you to see them clearly, without excuses. Because discernment isn't cruelty. It's self-defense for the soul. Part 3. The one who watches from the shadows. Capricorn, if the first one hides behind flattery, the second one hides behind silence. They don't speak much. They don't smile too wide. They rarely offer opinions unless you ask directly. But make no mistake, they are watching. Closely. Constantly. Calculating. You've seen them in the background of your victories. Not clapping. Not criticizing. Just observing, like they're gathering data. They know more about your life than you think. They pay attention to the details you didn't realize you were revealing. The hesitation in your voice. The moment your energy drops. The sigh you let slip. The things you didn't post, but they somehow knew anyway. They've memorized your rhythm not to celebrate it, but to detect the pause. The gap. The place where you might eventually fall. This person is patient. They're not impulsive. They've been building their plan slowly. Like a spider weaving a web, thread by invisible thread. And Capricorn, here's the part that chills your bones. They think you trust them. Or at the very least, they think you've underestimated them. Because you rarely see them as a threat. They're not loud. They're not confrontational. They don't even seem to compete with you. But that's the danger. They don't want to outshine you. They want to understand your blind spots. So that when the moment comes, they can hit you where it truly hurts. They may never raise their voice. But they will raise questions about you in other people's minds. Subtle, quiet suggestions that plant doubt and confusion. She seems different lately. Do you think he's really ready for that role? I'm not saying anything, but something feels off, doesn't it? Capricorn, this person doesn't need to lie to create damage. All they need to do is plant the seed and walk away. And when things start to unravel, they'll be the first to say, I knew something wasn't right. But the most twisted part. They've convinced themselves they're not doing anything wrong. Because in their mind, they're just observing. They're just noticing. They're just protecting themselves from someone who's rising too fast, shining too brightly, evolving too far beyond their reach. It's not that they hate you. It's that your growth makes them feel irrelevant. And in their silence, their coldness, they've made a decision. If they can't match your elevation, they'll quietly wait for a moment to interrupt it. They won't stab. They'll let you stumble. And then say, "See? I knew this would happen." Capricorn, this is not paranoia. It's perception. Your spirit has already noticed how this person moves. How they show up but never truly support. How they keep tabs but rarely encourage. How their presence feels more like surveillance than support. And if you've felt drained after being around them, if you've felt a fog in your thoughts, a drop in your energy, or even a sudden wave of anxiety after an interaction, then Spirit is confirming what you already know. This person has been feeding off your light in silence. And their quiet is not peace. It's strategy. Life lesson. Capricorn, silence is not always harmless. Some people weaponize their stillness to make you doubt your own clarity. You must learn to trust how people make you feel, not just what they say. Because sometimes, the most dangerous presence in the room is the one that never speaks, but never leaves. Part 4. The 3 hidden motives: jealousy, fear, greed. Capricorn, when people move against you in silence, it's not always because you wronged them. Sometimes, it's because you reminded them of everything they couldn't become. There are 3 ancient energies. 3 poisonous roots that twist themselves into the hearts of those who envy you in secret. Jealousy, fear, greed. And whether these 2 people know it or not, these energies are fueling them. Let's name them one by one because Spirit wants you to understand the why, not just the who. 1. Jealousy, the mirror they can't stand to face. Jealousy is not always loud. It's not always filled with insults or open hate. In fact, the most dangerous kind hides behind affection. The first person envies what you carry. Not just your success, but your strength. They see the way you keep going, how you rise with dust still on your skin, and it eats them alive. Every achievement you reach reflects something they failed to build. Every moment you shine reminds them of how dim they've become. But instead of being inspired, they resent you. Your life has become a mirror they can't stop looking into. And what they see makes them angry. So they smile. They pretend. But inside, the storm of jealousy has already begun to rot their loyalty. 2. Fear, the terror of being left behind. The second person doesn't hate you. They fear you. Not in the physical sense, but in the spiritual, emotional sense. They're terrified that as you grow, you'll no longer need them. That your evolution will expose their stagnation. That your next chapter won't include them. So they sabotage. They interfere. They plant confusion not because they want to destroy you, but because they want to slow you down just enough to stay close. It's twisted, Capricorn. But it's real. Sometimes people would rather harm you than be left behind by you. That's not love. That's possession disguised as concern. 3. Greed, the desire to take what isn't theirs. And then there's the most hidden motive of all, greed. Not always for money. Not even for fame or glory. But for something more subtle, more dangerous. Your light. Some people see how grounded you are, how wise, calm, and magnetic you've become. And instead of building their own peace, they try to steal yours. They take your time, your energy, your emotional labor. They take your ideas and call them their own. They drain you with venting sessions and spiritual emergencies. They don't ask how you're doing, they just assume you'll always be there. This is not admiration. This is extraction. And Capricorn, Spirit says, you're not a well for others to drink from endlessly. You see, these 3 forces, jealousy, fear, and greed, don't always show themselves directly. They hide in smiles. They hide in silence. They hide in relationships where the balance has always tilted in their favor. But Spirit is exposing them now. Because these motives aren't harmless. They are the foundation of the trap they're trying to build around you. And the more you understand these energies, the more power you have to cut the cords before they tighten. Life lesson. Capricorn, the most dangerous attacks come not from hate, but from hunger. When someone is jealous, they don't always want to destroy you. They want what you have. When someone is afraid, they don't always want to leave. They want to keep you small enough to manage. When someone is greedy, they don't always steal objects. They steal your light, your time, your peace. So protect your energy like it's sacred. Because to the wrong hearts, it is currency. Part 5. How Spirit Revealed Their Faces. Capricorn, when Spirit wants to protect you, it doesn't shout. It whispers. But you've been hearing those whispers louder and louder, haven't you? In the middle of the night. When everything is quiet, but you can't sleep. In your dreams. Where familiar faces suddenly wear unfamiliar masks. In your body. When your heart starts racing for no logical reason. Or your stomach sinks after just one harmless conversation. These were not coincidences. They were divine alerts. Because the truth is, Spirit has been trying to show you who these people really are. Not through their words, but through energy. And Capricorn, you're sensitive to energy in ways others don't understand. That strange chill down your spine. That flash of discomfort when a name pops up. That moment of hesitation before you share your next idea. All of it was Spirit tugging at your sleeve. Saying, look again. They are not who you think they are. The signs were always there. You felt it when they celebrated you. But their words didn't feel anchored in truth. You felt it when you got good news. But hesitated to tell them, without knowing why. You felt it when they gave you advice. But something in your chest tightened instead of expanding. That's called spiritual tension, Capricorn. It's what happens when your soul recognizes a misalignment. Even before your mind can understand it. And let's not forget the synchronicities. Have you been seeing repeated numbers? Hearing the same phrases in different places? Noticing that you keep running into the same warning over and over? That's Spirit speaking through your external world. Because sometimes when we don't listen inwardly, the universe speaks louder through patterns. You've even heard people slip. Say something they didn't mean to say. Reveal something they didn't mean to reveal. And you brushed it off. But it stuck with you, didn't it? Because it wasn't just a slip. It was exposure. Spirit doesn't reveal by accident. Capricorn, you need to understand this. When Spirit reveals, it's because something is coming. Something that requires you to be clear, discerning, and guarded. Because elevation is near. And the higher you rise, the more invisible hands try to cling to you. Spirit will never let you walk blindly into betrayal. That's why the dreams have intensified. That's why your body feels things before your mind does. That's why you're listening to this message right now. This is not entertainment. This is alignment. And let me ask you something. Haven't you already seen glimpses of their real faces? The quick flash of irritation when you succeeded. The passive-aggressive comment wrapped in a joke. The uncomfortable shift in their energy when attention turned to you. Capricorn, you weren't imagining it. You were being warned. And now the veil is lifting. The masks are starting to crack. But you have a choice to make. Will you keep ignoring the signs? Or will you finally trust that your intuition is your first layer of divine protection? Life lesson. Capricorn, Spirit doesn't repeat messages for fun. It repeats them until you act. Every warning you've received, whether in dreams, feelings, or coincidences, was timed to protect you from what you couldn't yet see. So now, don't just nod. Don't just notice. Respond. Because clarity without action is still a kind of blindness. Part 6. The spiritual trap that nearly caught you. Capricorn, spiritual traps don't look like cages. They don't arrive with warning signs or flashing lights. No, the real traps are crafted from emotions, patterns, and illusions. And the most dangerous ones are the ones we almost step into without realizing we were walking straight toward them. You've been circling one lately. Unseen, unspoken, but felt in your soul. Because the people you trusted most have been quietly shaping a net around you. Not a physical one, but an energetic one. A pattern of manipulation wrapped in concern. A loop of guilt disguised as loyalty. A cycle of emotional debt where you always give, and they always take. And the deeper it gets, the more subtle it becomes. The trap was not made to break you instantly. No, Capricorn. It was designed to make you question yourself. First. Because if they can make you doubt your own thoughts, if they can cloud your clarity just enough, then they don't have to pull you down. You'll slow yourself. You'll sabotage your own momentum. It started when they questioned your decisions in casual ways. It deepened when they withdrew emotionally when you didn't do what they wanted. It intensified when they made you feel guilty for succeeding while they struggled. And slowly, you began shrinking yourself. You shared less. You downplayed your goals. You started editing your energy to keep the peace. That was the trap. Because if they could keep you emotionally small, spiritually insecure, doubtful of your own timing, then they could buy more time. Before you left them behind for good, Spirit stepped in because you were getting too close. There was a moment, maybe you missed it, when you were about to compromise something sacred. Your standards, your intuition, your path. You were on the verge of choosing peace over truth, choosing comfort over growth, choosing their approval over your own inner knowing. But then, you lost sleep. Your dreams became louder. Your body tightened up when you were around them. Your energy dimmed even in your happiest moments. That was your soul resisting the trap. Because the snare wasn't just built from external manipulation. It was built by your willingness to keep trusting what Spirit was already exposing. But no more. Because the moment you see a trap, it loses power. And the moment you name it, Spirit begins the work of dismantling it. These people didn't want to destroy you. At least, not in the beginning. They just wanted access. To your gifts. To your wisdom. To your presence. But the moment they realized they couldn't control it, that's when the trap began. It wasn't set out of hate. It was set out of desperation. They thought if they could keep you tangled in emotional obligation, you'd never rise far enough to see them clearly. But Capricorn, you're not theirs to control. You're not here to carry people's shadows while they drain your light. Spirit didn't build you for silent sacrifice. It built you for sacred alignment. And anything that threatens that will always be exposed. Life lesson. Capricorn, the most seductive traps are the ones that feel familiar. They're wrapped in history, softened by shared memories, disguised as love, loyalty, or being the bigger person. But the truth is simple. Any connection that asks you to dim your light to keep peace is not love. It's bondage. And you were not born for bondage. You were born for sovereignty. Part 7. Why you were chosen to see before it's too late. Capricorn, have you ever asked yourself, why do I always see things before others do? Why is it that you feel the tension before it erupts? Why do you detect shifts in energy before the first word is spoken? Why does your spirit sense betrayal before betrayal even happens? It's not paranoia. It's not overthinking. It's not emotional hypersensitivity. It's something far greater. You were chosen to see what others cannot. Because your path is not like theirs. Spirit made you a seer, not a victim. You see, Capricorn, you were born under a sign that doesn't just endure time. It governs it. You carry the ancient weight of responsibility, leadership, and discernment. And that means Spirit trusts you with early revelations. Not to scare you, but to prepare you. Because what you carry is generational. The calling on your life is too important to let you walk blindly into energetic traps designed to delay your rise. Others may be able to ignore the signs, but you can't. Because when you ignore them, the cost is higher. The delays are deeper. The lessons are harsher. That's not punishment. That's spiritual precision. Because your destiny is not small. And neither is your responsibility. The time of passive awakening is over. Spirit isn't showing you these faces now for curiosity's sake. It's showing you because something is about to shift. The path you're walking is narrowing, not out of limitation, but out of elevation. And not everyone can walk with you into this next phase. Not because they're bad people, but because their energy, their intentions, their hidden motives would weigh too heavily on your future. That's why you're being shown the truth before it happens. That's why the trap is being revealed before it's sprung. That's why you're listening to this message right now. Because this moment is not random. It's a crossroad. A divine checkpoint. A final wake-up call before a massive realignment. You were born with a spiritual alarm system. Capricorn, your soul came into this life encoded with warnings. Encoded with wisdom. Encoded with inner signals that others dismiss but you feel like thunder. You've always been the one who sensed the storm before the first drop. You've always been the one who felt the tension others were too distracted to notice. That's not a burden. That's a gift. But a gift unused becomes a liability. A warning unheeded becomes a wound. That's why Spirit is pressing you now. To trust your knowing. To act on what you feel, not just observe it. To stop brushing off the very intuition that was sent to protect you. Because the reason you've been given sight is so you don't have to learn through suffering. Life lesson. Capricorn, those who carry high callings receive early warnings. You are not being paranoid. You are being activated. What Spirit is showing you now is not just about protection. It's about positioning. You're being prepared for something bigger. And the truth you see today will become the clarity that carries you into your next breakthrough. So honor what you feel. Act on what you see. Because your timing is not just perfect. It's prophetic. Part 8. What will happen to them? Karma returns. Capricorn, people think karma is slow. That it takes years, lifetimes even, to deliver justice. But what they forget is that karma doesn't move on our schedule. It moves on sacred timing. And that timing is now. Those who plotted in secret. The ones who smiled in your face but whispered in your absence. They believed they were clever. They believed their intentions would stay hidden forever. But Spirit saw it all. And Spirit doesn't forget. The trap they set was their own. Capricorn, the same spiritual energy that protects you, also records what was done in the dark. Every fake compliment, every withheld support, every passive-aggressive dig, every ounce of manipulative energy they projected toward you, has created a ripple. And now, that ripple is returning. Not because you wished harm on them. Not because you fought back. But because you didn't. You stayed silent. You rose above. You chose wisdom over revenge. And that is why the universe is about to balance the scales on your behalf. Their plans will collapse publicly. Capricorn, there will come a moment. Not far from now. When the people who conspired against you will find themselves caught in the very energy they released. The one who smiled and lied. Their mask will fall, in front of the exact people they tried to deceive. The one who stayed silent but observed with envy. They'll be exposed, not because you said anything, but because Spirit is done letting them hide. Conversations they thought were private will be repeated. Intentions they tried to bury will surface through unexpected events. And the very trap they constructed will become the mirror that shows them who they truly are. They won't just be revealed to you. They'll be revealed to themselves. And that is the harshest justice of all. Capricorn, you don't have to do a thing. Karma doesn't ask for your permission. It doesn't need your anger to work. It doesn't require your retaliation. In fact, the less you involve yourself, the faster karma moves. So don't fight. Don't warn them. Don't try to make peace with people who betrayed you. Your job is simple. Stay aligned. Stay aware. Stay in your lane. Because while they're tripping over their own lies, you'll be walking through doors they can't follow you through. The law of return is in motion. Capricorn, energy always returns to its source. If they sowed envy, they will reap emptiness. If they spread confusion, they will drown in their own instability. If they used your kindness as weakness, they will find themselves in need and discover no hands reaching back. This is not cruelty. It's spiritual symmetry, because the universe doesn't punish to destroy. It corrects to reveal. And they are about to be revealed. Not by you, but by the echo of their own choices. Life lesson. Capricorn, divine justice doesn't come through revenge. It comes through revelation. You were never meant to avenge yourself. You were meant to rise so high that those who tried to block you are forced to watch your elevation. From a distance they can no longer cross. Let the universe be your defender. Let peace be your sword. Because the less you fight, the louder the truth becomes. And Capricorn, that truth is about to speak louder than any lie ever could. Part 9. The face behind the mask. Capricorn, let's get honest. You already know who it is. You may not want to admit it. You may still be hoping you're wrong. You may still be trying to give them the benefit of the doubt. But your spirit has been telling you the truth all along. Their face has flashed in your mind during this entire message. Their name echoed in your chest when the warning came. And every time your intuition whispered look again, it was them. Spirit has been dropping clues. It didn't happen all at once. It came in pieces. A glance that lingered too long. A question that felt more like an interrogation than concern. A moment where they forgot to include you, but remembered to include others. A celebration you expected them to be part of, but their silence screamed louder than a room full of applause. They've been hiding behind normalcy, smiling, showing up, maybe even hugging you. But the energy never lied. You felt it when your joy made them uncomfortable. You felt it when your progress made them withdraw. You felt it when your name lit up a room, and they suddenly had nothing to say. They weren't clapping for you, Capricorn. They were calculating. And Spirit let you feel that disconnect. Not to confuse you, but to prepare you. Who they are is not who you thought. This person has known your story. They've seen you at your weakest. They've listened to your dreams. You trusted them because they were once there for you. But what you didn't see until now was how their energy changed the moment you started rising. They didn't hate the broken version of you. They feared the whole version. Because your healing exposed their stagnation. Your clarity made their manipulation harder. Your peace made their chaos stand out. And they knew, if you ever fully saw them for who they were, you'd never look at them the same again. And now, you don't. The mask is slipping. Capricorn, their reactions are starting to give them away. They hesitate when you speak about your vision. They ask more than they share. They mimic your phrases, but something feels hollow. It's not what they say. It's the energy behind it. And the closer you get to your breakthrough, the more their mask begins to crack. You'll notice how they fumble when you ask direct questions. How they avoid eye contact when you're glowing. How they suddenly want space or pick small fights when you're doing well. That's not coincidence. That's exposure. Spirit is letting their energy betray them. Because sometimes the truth doesn't come in words. It comes in vibration. Don't confront. Just confirm. You don't need to confront them. You don't need to announce what you know. That's not your path. Your silence will be louder than their secrets. Capricorn, truth doesn't always need to be spoken. Sometimes it just needs to be seen. And once you've seen it, you can no longer pretend. So don't excuse what your intuition has already proven. Don't soften what spirit has already revealed. This person wore the mask long enough. Now it's time for you to walk forward. Eyes open, spirit sharp, boundaries intact. Life lesson. Capricorn, when you finally see someone for who they are, believe it. Don't wait for them to betray you louder. Don't wait for evidence in the physical. When your soul already delivered the verdict. Discernment is your divine compass. And today, it has pointed you straight toward the face behind the mask. Now you don't need permission to let go. You have the truth. And the truth has set you free. Part 10. You were never blind, just protected. Capricorn, now that you've seen the truth, you may feel a strange mixture of emotions. Relief. Grief. Anger. Clarity. That's normal. Because waking up to what was hidden requires you to mourn the illusion before you can fully embrace the truth. But hear this clearly. You were never blind. You were shielded. Spirit wasn't punishing you by hiding their intentions. It was protecting you while you built the strength to finally see them. And now, you do. You were chosen for this revelation. Capricorn, you don't attract betrayal because you're naive. You attract it because you're powerful. Because the brighter your light shines, the more shadows it exposes. Because your elevation threatens the parts of others that refuse to grow. And the moment you decided to walk in purpose was the moment hidden energies began to whisper behind your back. But here's what they didn't expect. They didn't expect you to see through the performance. They didn't expect your intuition to cut through the lies. They didn't expect you to stay calm and walk away with your soul still intact. They underestimated you, Capricorn. And now, their plans have dissolved. But you have risen. The final shift begins now. This is not the end of a betrayal story. This is the beginning of a higher path. Because now that the faces have been revealed, the trap has collapsed, and spirit has confirmed what your soul has been sensing. You are finally free. Free to stop shrinking. Free to stop questioning. Free to stop carrying relationships that only drained you in silence. This next version of you doesn't beg for love. It doesn't explain its worth. It doesn't apologize for seeing the truth. It simply moves forward. Clean, clear, and completely aligned. Speak it into your life. Say it with me now, not just in your mind, but out loud, in your body, in your energy. I am protected. I see clearly. I choose myself. No trap formed against me will succeed. Say it again, and again, until every cell in your body believes it. Because this is not just a video. It's not just a message. It's a moment. A spiritual pivot. A sacred confirmation that you are being watched over. Not just by spirit, but by every ancestor who ever prayed that someone like you would rise in this lifetime. And now, you have. Final life lesson. Capricorn, what they tried to hide, spirit revealed. What they tried to steal, the universe protected. And what was meant to break you, has only made you unstoppable. You don't need revenge. You don't need closure. You don't need to return to what you've already outgrown. All you need now is forward motion. And faith that everything hidden will always rise to the surface in divine timing. This is your time. This is your victory. This is your release. So type it in the comments right now. I am protected. I see clearly. I move forward. Let the universe hear you. Let your energy speak louder than their silence. And if this message spoke directly to your soul, like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And subscribe now to Zodiac Secrets Revealed. Because more spiritual truths are coming. And the next one might be the very key you've been waiting for. Capricorn, walk away now. Not broken, but awake. Not bitter, but wise. Not afraid, but chosen. The trap is broken. The truth is yours. And nothing can stop what has already been written in your soul.